Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Formula Racing TV. Welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione. Week 3 of our extraordinary, enthusiastic, spectacular multi-class first day championship. This time, round number 3. It takes place in the twisty and really hard track of Oulton Park. We're still in the United Kingdom soil. And these drivers, divided by GT3 and GT4 classes, will be competing for the classes victory in one of the most undervalued tracks in Great Britain and in the entire world. I'm Andrea Mattarelli, and I'm happy to be joining back in the commentary box for giving you all the highlights for the multi-class first day event here at Oulton Park. I think it is all clear, it's all working well. I'm back after taking a small vacation. Really, I just want to check everything because tonight we're having a weekend, or a virtual weekend that you do not want to miss, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, you have amazing drivers participating. Of course, like Andrea Marcella, the absolute dominator of GT3 class in the first 2 rounds, Barcelona and Silverstone, and currently fastest in the free practice session, the precise qualifying. Then Brendan Glover in second, Mikko Tivenna in third, Giannelli, a new face in the Mercedes, in fourth. Then Norway Overland in fifth with the home soil McLaren 720S GT3. Ivanov from Bulgaria in sixth. Big Taksowski Silvestri apprentice. Then in GT4 it's always the same with Luca Montero leading from D'Amica, Codonesu, Sharpie, Beltrame, Smith, with Samuel Gerbino in P25 ahead of Lemming in the Mercedes. Then it's Sebastien Trotman, Twiddle, Liti, and Kruger. Kruger, a new face, joining the challenge in his Chevrolet Camaro. Lost it already in the one of the 2 chicane section, but it's a checker flag time. It is a checker flag, so just the small procedures before starting for qualifying in this 4.3 kilometers track, 70 turns in the international circuit. The host regularly races with Formula 3, British Touring Car Challenge, and of course the British GT Championship. The really popular among the fans for a track that was born in 1953, based on the roads used by all the base for the American troops to prepare for the Normandy. And so since then this track was born near the village of Little Budworth in Cheshire, and it is one of the tracks that really demands a lot from driver and car, with a lot of really interesting and really difficult section. For example, the number 5, the turn 5 Shell Oils corner, and also the chicanes of Britain's 7, 8, 9, and then 10 and 11 heat slopes. Also the up and down section of Water Tower and Druids corner, and of course a lot to watch out. But now let's head back to the action, because qualifying starts, and that's a multi-class tradition. The qualifying session in separated in 2 parts. The first 10 minutes is reserved for the GT4 drivers who have this 4.3 kilometer track all for themselves to try to set the fastest lap time. And we have, of course, all of the drivers, the main drivers, now into the track. Of course, all the eyes will be on Luca Montero, the dominating force in GT4 class. It is McLaren 720S GT4. Pole and victory, both in Barcelona and Silverstone. Let's see if anyone can mount him a challenge. And of course, it's not only McLaren who's racing on home soil, and of course not also Aston Martin, but it's also Ginetta, represented in this championship only by fellow Britishman, one of old class, one would say, Paul Trotman, who's challenging the top tier dog of this category, even in the Ginetta G55 GT4, which is proved reliable and really strong in the corners and in the acceleration, but which lacks severely top speed. But Oulton Park, which is a twisty and not so fast section, might be useful for Trotman to try to get closer to the top position. Let's see if that will be the case. And of course, Smith from Belgium, now one of the first to start his flying laps in the Audi R8. It's one of the profile to just keep watching, because it is really interesting, and he proved in several races that he was a force to consider, even though he did not take the result he hoped. Of course, Samuel Gerbino, a fellow FRL admin, is also here in the McLaren, while everyone is already trying to set the fastest lap time possible in this track. And of course, one of the favorites to try challenge Montero, Adam Sharp, in his Porsche Cayman, which claimed 4th and 3rd in the Silverstone, will try to step again on the podium here at Oulton Park and try to challenge Montero, possibly for the victory. To take a victory in his home soil will be very much surprised. Now let's see if we have the first few times. Luca Montero already started strong with a 141.4, but D'Amica only 83 tenths of a second behind. Smith in 3rd, ahead of Witt in both the Audis away over 2 seconds. Codoneso in 3rd with a Mercedes Manfield 43 car. We have now Samuel Gerbino crossing the line in 4th. Alessandro Litti, the Aston Martin, is 7th. Poletti is 3rd. Let's see now Paul Trotman, who's closing his first flying lap. Hopefully for him, the Ginetta track layout can be more favorable to his Ginetta, to his driving style. Let's see Trotman, he can get closer to the top position. For now, he's 9th. 2.4 seconds away from Montero. Ahead for now with Twiddle and Kruger. For now 12 in the Chevrolet Camaro. And already a big challenge between the Italians, Montero and D'Amica, separated by 83 tenths of a second, with D'Amica. It's not D'Amica who's behind him, it's Codoneso, or I believe, no, it's D'Amica. It's just D'Amica, really following him, trying to take every bit of slipstream and trying to get a good lap time, even though it seemed like it slowed down a little bit on oversteer at the exit of the final corner and start another flying lap. But there's a big surprise for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not alone tonight in the commentary box, because I have at my side now for the first time our fellow FRL boss, Gordon Brown. Hello, Gordon. Are you here? You join my Well, you joined my party.
I am here. I am here. I've been sitting on mute for the past 12 minutes, but I am here now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a false start for you, buddy. That's a false start for you, buddy. Don't worry, everyone go past this. And how have you been?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you very much. Once again, first time here on a Thursday, first time for a long time, so I'm quite looking forward to it. I'll do my best to keep you informed of what's not on screen just now, and obviously we'll hopefully build a bit of a rapport and get a good rhythm going as we continue this evening.
Yeah, because as you can see, the fight for pole position of GT4 class is already intense between, of course, those Italians with Montero, of course, leading as always, but D'Amica is only 83,000 of a second behind the time of the driver in the leading McLaren. And of course, there's a lot to watch out, and there's also a real shame also that we don't have Matthias the Monster here. That is just saying hello here in the chat. Shame I couldn't join this one. They have a broken brake spring waiting for the new part. And this is the one track, the GT4 one fight the McLaren, and I'm not there. And I do not believe you, because Montero just set a 140.9 just to set up again the bar to tell everyone who is the man to beat, even at Oulton Park. And also the Monster is so he's giving a cheer to you, the boss of FRL.
I don't know if that comment's going to go down too well amongst the hierarchy, but I'll take it just now. Definitely, we'll take it just now. That 1 minute 40.9 is a very quick lap time, isn't it? Like, even I know there's not a lot of straights on this track, and it's a tight and twisty, but there's it's only a couple of seconds off the GT3 times. It's not as big a gap as we first thought.
Yes, indeed. And Montero came back into the pits. Don't know if we'll be able to rejoin in time for start a flying lap. But still, I think this could be a really good time, enough for taking pole position yet another time in the GT4 class, unless D'Amica, Poletti, Beltrame, or here now on live, Adam Schape can do something about it. Adam Schape is 5th now in the Porsche Cayman. Let's see if he improves his time. He does not improve his position. He's only 5th, and we have another guest, ladies and gentlemen, because they got package deal. Without Brown, there is no him, and we have, once again, Chris Gelman. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, guys. How are we? What's happening?
We're doing pretty good. Commentated the last moment from the GT4 qualifying. Seemingly all set, because Montero is really on another level.
In the chat. Scott's on me. Do you want to check Jay Lachod to find out why he's out on track?
I'm just watching them on screen, on my screen, and we're running picture-in-picture on my end. But I'm just looking at that.
Yeah, I think Lachot didn't get the memo. It's not 11 the time where you can put the GT3.
He's actually not managed a lap, but
he started a lap. Yeah, he's definitely maybe misread something.
He's been out the whole 10 minutes. So if we could find out on SimGrid what his name is and tag him.
Meanwhile, want to tell everybody what's going on in the pit lane, because I can see already a traffic jam already on the outside. They're all ready to go. I think the first one will be Brendan Glover, about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're on the way with GT3 qualifying action. It's Marcella first and Glover in the second. Of course, the GT4 drivers can finish the lap, and then they will head straight back to the pits to let the track, let the auto park to the GT3 Monsters car. And we have D'Amica now, the first rival of Montero. Let's see if he improves. And he does not. And D'Amica is second, and it's qualifying down for him. Poletti now in third with the McLaren, teammate of Luca Montero. Let's see if we'll manage to do something to at least take the front row. Always talking about the GT4 class, of course. Let's see, Marco Poletti. He does improve on 1/10.5, but he still stays in third place. Let's see Codoneso. Codoneso is headed back to the pits. Sebastian is already in the pits. Litti is coming back as well. Lamming and Twiddle are already in the pits, so it's all done in the GT4 class. Luca Montero taking pole position ahead of D'Amica. Poletti, Beltrame, our 1, 2, 3, 4 for Italy. Absolute dominant force in the GT4 class. And now, let's see if my country, my flag will rise up even in the GT3 class, where, of course, Gordon, there's been one main reference for everyone else. Andrea Marcella in the Porsche number 511, and looking at what he did in the free practice, I think he might be the favorite also to clinch another pole position.
Yeah, Marcella was first at the pit lane. He doesn't know how to be second in any situation, does he? He's all, the big traffic, what's going on here? Huge traffic jams. Now, Gianelli's just crashed massively on the second last corner into two separate cars.
Yeah, I see Ivanov and Lochard having some problems at the last corner. Of course, this is
Lochard, yes.
Yes, Lochard. This is one of the very down factors about racing a multi-class at Oulton Park, because it is really tight, it is exciting, but the overtaking opportunities aren't very much, as Ivanov takes a little bit of grass and lost it in the entry of turn number 2. But doing now multi-class where you have to overlap and take the blue flags on the GT4s, it would be even more complicated because the track is narrow. There aren't very much overtaking opportunities. There aren't really heavy braking spots apart from turn 5 and the 2 chicane spots. So
yeah, I think the best overtaking spot around here is probably into turn 1, if I'm being completely honest, or into the final corner. That seemed to be where most of the clean action anyway happened on Tuesday evening. There was some action around the chicanes, but it usually didn't end very well, so expect to see most moves into the final corner or into turn 1.
Okay, we have the first time on the sheet for GT3 class, of course. Andrea Marcella setting the reference 1:32.655 in the Porsche. Glover in second, 7/10 behind the Italian. Then Beek in the Ferrari, it's 1.9 seconds behind in third place. Then following is Jack Prentice in the Mercedes, 4th place ahead of Tucker. And Gregory Harvey in 6th in the Bentley, the old reliable Bentley, but it's been overtaken by Polish sensation Takskowski. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that wrong, but it really is a really complicated surname. Ramsperger robs him of 6th place in the McLaren number 10, while Tucker takes P5 with the second Ford Mustang on the ranking behind Glover. Then now it's Tucker in the top 5, then Ramsperger, Takskowski, Harvey, Riccardo De Rosa, Giannelli, Chris Gelman in 11 is his Porsche that have some cameras for the fellow Scotsman. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is in the golden Porsche. How are you doing, Chris? How are you tackling the Oulton Park for now?
Pretty good. Try hardest.
I think there might be some interference on the radio. I think he's too busy to be answering our call and watching the radio at the same time.
Yeah, just at the front, Brandon Glover has closed the gap to Marcella, and Harvey's now jumped up into P3 in the Bentley.
Hey, really good impression for Harvey, because of course the surname helps, being maybe the son or son-in-law of Timo Harvey from the Super League era. No jokes intended there, but it's also
cousins.
Cousins. That's really good to know. That's really good to know. And he take a third place until Simone Giannelli, don't know if that is name, in every case, I'm sorry. He take third place, 1.1 behind Andrea Marcella, and Van der Waal takes fourth, and Rammersberger takes fourth. Wow, it's a real battle for the second row of the grid, considering Marcella Glover looks to be on another level of pace among the rest of the GT3 field.
Yeah, Giannelli, I think it's Stefano is his first name. He was very good on Taco Tuesday. He was in the Pro-Am category and dominated. So, I mean, I'm expecting him to be up the top end. It's very likely you'll see him next Tuesday as well in Tier 1. We're thinking of promoting him, I think, just because of his pace, as you can see, is so good. But yeah, I expect to see him up near the top end as well today.
So, real interested from Stefano Giannelli, of course. For now, further, let's see if we'll keep the place until the end of qualifying, because it's a real tight behind him, because we have from Harvey to Tucker all closed up in just 6/10 of a second, and we have another one maybe just improving, and he is... I believe Harvey taking back a fourth place, because now it's a 1.4, and it is really, I don't know if it was him or it was another, but it is a really tight. Giannelli improved, yeah. Only 8 times now separating him and Marcella. Marcella still seemingly unreachable by all the others, including Glover. But behind them, it's a real fight. Chris Gedman is elevating himself to P11, only 2 seconds behind Andrea Marcella. And of course, others are improving. But for now, it's P12 for the Scotsman.
Only 2 seconds, thank you.
Yes, the timing board on the left is tumbling like a slot machine. Its time is moving all over the place just now. Interesting, we've got Rampensberger and Overland with the identical lap times, 7th and 8th, and just ahead of them, Thacker and Terriena, also only a 10th separate those two. But Marcella, the story of the day, is he's managed to improve even more in a 32-1. That's absolutely incredible.
That is a beast time for the Italian monster on the Porsche, because now Andrea Marcella has 9 tenths and 3 on advantage over Glover. Looks like nothing, and no one can take him pole position. Even in this one, it will be same business, same Italian business as usual, at least in qualifying. Let's see if someone can take some challenge in the races, which I remind will be a multi-class race, 45 minutes with a 1 mandatory pit stop. And the sensation, dear mate, is that will be a race not decided by pace, pure pace, pure speed, but will be decided by who will commit as less mistakes as possible, not only on the track on this driving, but about the lapping, the blue flag procedures between GT3 and GT4 class that will inevitably arrive at some point during the race.
Yes, absolutely. There is obviously an element of strategy involved there. We'll definitely talk about that a bit more as we were sort of waiting for the formation lap to commence. But I think
Jack Prentice, sorry, it's 5th. Jack Prentice from 5th. The Ipswich Town driver is taking his AMG into the top 5. Really good lap also from him as we approach the last 30 seconds of qualifying. Marcella has already joined into the pits. Glover improved to go to half a second behind Marcella, but I don't think he has enough in his tank to try take Marcella's challenge on pole position. And let's see who will take it to grab a second row. For now, business between Giannelli and Tirrena. Tirrena now up, and the qualifying is done. It's just now checker flag for Giannelli. For Harvey does not improve, so he stays 6th for now in the Bentley. Let's see who will be. The Beaker is on the pits. Rammersberger is still on the track. Van der Waal is
P8.
P8 for the Dutchman. Really good for him. Gedman, he finished onto the barriers, and it's a 16.
Yep.
It's not last, so that will do for him. Ivanov, sorry for the pronunciation.
Whatever.
Yes, it's in the last corner, and he improves to 5th place.
Oh, what a lap.
Nice stuff by the Dutch driver, and Jack Prentice managed to improve further, to take 2nd row, to snatch it away from Mirko Tirenda's hands. Tucker is stopped on the track. Beaker Ramos is on the box. Ramsperger maybe is now the only driver who can move the ranking for now. The McLaren driver is P12, but is pushing, almost losing it outside in the exit on the final corner. Ramsperger on the finish line. Let's see. He proves he takes 7th place.
Wow.
Ahead of Harvey. Real well done to Ramsperger, but of course, with the qualification done and dusted, it's again Andrea Marcella on pole position with the Porsche.
Yeah, tight qualifying session. If we take away the front two there, we see it's very tightly packed from 3rd all the way down to 10th place. Down to 15th actually, very tight. It's about a second between all of those drivers, so expect it to be very competitive in this tight and twisty track. A little bit further down in the GT4 category as well, we can see a same situation. If you take away the leader, it's a very competitive field. A lot of drivers there within a second of each other as well. I suspect this might be a very tight one. You did mention earlier on as well, we're talking about strategy and things like that. There is obviously the multi-class factor, but an interesting feature in this race compared to the first 2 races is the temperature. Now it's a lot cooler here today than it was in the first 2 races. So in the first 2 races, the best sort of strategy you could take was definitely to take that tyre change, which cost you the extra 5 seconds in the pit lane. But tonight, with it being a little bit cooler, some of the drivers might gamble, stick with the tyres for the whole race, save 5 seconds in the pit lane and get track position, and then we'll see towards the end which of that option was the best, whether it's best to take the new tyres for the grip but punish yourself in the pits, or if it's best to stick it out and keep track position here with the tighter track layout as well.
Yeah, of course, a reminder that every pit stop minimum oil fuel is as a time fixated, just 25 seconds. With the tire change will be 30 seconds. Of course, minus all the damage and other operation that the drivers might do on the pit lane. So it will really be important to see which driver will gamble a tire change for 5 seconds that may cost him some position or track position, and which will, as I said, will very much be a key factor during this race. And now we're in the grid, ready almost for the starting procedures, only less than 3 minutes. And Gedman, if you can share your driver POV, your sensation before the start, what will be the key to have a good result here at Oulton Park?
Take your time through sector 1 and 2 at the start of the race. It can be quite tight, quite messy. It worked a treat for myself on Tuesday night. I managed to qualify 15th and I finished 7th with just racing clean and consistent 55 laps. So tonight, shorter session, maybe 31, 32 laps at a push. Maybe a wee strategy could be go slightly longer. I'm going to try that tonight. A wee bit longer in my first stint so that I can take full advantage of maybe the slower cars slowing down the front runners, and again see if I can get from, I think I qualified 16th there, see if I can finish maybe top 10.
Yeah,
I think, Chris, you should potentially looking to time your pit stop when you catch the back of the GT4 pack. 3 or 4 seconds I think you could lose in traffic here quite easily. I think maybe avoiding that, at least initially, could potentially get you track position. I think that could be one you could look to try, I think.
Right, so I think I'll fuel then for, I'll fuel 50. Lets me go a little bit longer, and I can pit if I do start approaching the back markers.
Yeah, you need to time that one out. You'll need to time that one out, I'm afraid, for the fuel.
Oh, wish me luck, wish me luck. Listen, I'll let you go, guys. Thanks for taking me in the comms before the race start. I'll maybe pop in at the end for a wee interview to tell you if I died miserably or successfully managed my wee pit strategy. Thanks, gents.
No worries. Just to let you know before you go, I'm thinking about potentially, I don't know what you think about this, Andrea. Do you think if I could stream as well, we could have a simultaneous stream but showing the GT4s only?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be a really good idea. It would be a really good idea. And thank you, Chris, for joining us. And thank you, everyone, who's joining us in this live stream. An exceptional live stream, considering we have now Gordon Brown here commentating. We have Chris Gedman until some time, and we have a really busy chat with Matthias de Mutte, but also Richard Gierman, and really...
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, we have 11 spectators live on our channel. Reminder that you can support us by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and follow us also on our Patreon. That really give us some help in delivering quality content here on Formula Racing League. And we're now onto the starting procedure. Yeah.
Yeah, so just some quick information before we get underway. We've got a car jump to the pit lane, that's Gianelli, and we've also got the car that was lapping in the GT4 session also in the pit lane to start with.
Yes, we saw it's Gianelli and Lachod in the pit lane, starting, maybe avoiding all the mess, while Marcel Glover, one side to each other, ready to start things here at Oulton Park. We're underway for round number 3, multi-class Thursday. We have Andrea Marcella getting a clean start at turn 1, trying to protect the contact, and Glover goes into the grass, as well as Ivanov, and there's contact, Ravensberger, Ivanov, Glover, disaster, 3 cars already out from the GT3 category, and also some mayhem in the GT4. It seems like a McLaren is heavily damaged. It is Luca Montero. Luca Montero's overcars. Glover is again out off the track into the grass, and another Ferrari, I think, is shot, and that's a disaster. Of course, for Luca Montero, because he still leading the GT4 class, but he has heavy damage now on the front of his McLaren.
Absolute chaos there into the first couple of corners. The GT4s almost identical to the GT3s in terms of where the contact happened. Two separate incidents.
Sorry. I don't know what happened with Andrea Marcella, but Jack Prentice took the lead. Now Jack Prentice is leading the race at Oulton Park ahead of Andrea Marcella and Mirko Tirena. Don't know what happened there, but the Ipswich town boy is leading the race. What is happening? We said that it was important to get away from the chaos and avoid contact and any possible incident. Incident already happened at turn 1, and then the other thing was just a chain reaction with Jack Prentice leading now in the GT3 class, with Luca Montero still leading, even though with heavy damage at the front of the car. And now it's lap 2 with Prentice ahead of Marcella. Marcella already pushing to try to take back the lead of the race.
It's absolute chaos going on here at the back as well, the GT4 class, as the cars involved in the incidents at the start. Brandon Glover, and I think we've got a yellow Mercedes there as well. I think that's Ivanov potentially. There's a couple of cars trying to fight through the back of the field, and they're just getting caught up with the GT4s, and it's causing absolute chaos back there as well.
Yeah, and look at this. Meanwhile, we'll be seeing and we'll be trying to understand what caused the incident, even though it was the first contact between Marcella and Glover, and then Glover went into Harvey, and the other McLaren Ravensberger, who's now into the pits, as well as Ivanov. Really tough luck for them. We have to see what caused Andrea Marcella to lose the position of Jack Prentice. Even now the Italian is already putting real pressure on the British driver in the Mercedes to try to take back the position, and Prentice now really doing everything to try to keep the lead of the race here at Oulton Park. And look at how Marcella is pushing, trying also for a dummy. You go on the outside, I will go in the inside, and vice versa. At the large corner, turn 16, but Prentice is still leading as they approach the odd hole corner, and look how close they are. Marcella trying on the outside of turn 1, and it manages to complete the move.
Wow.
What outrageous move from Andrea Marcella. That's the indicator of how alien he is in this series. What a move by Andrea Marcella, who takes back the lead of the race with an astonishing move.
Yeah, he's just that much quicker than anyone. He's got that advantage almost through every single corner. But turn 1, nice and wide entry, late apex corner. It's possible to overtake there, and the Italian makes it work, and he retakes the lead.
Watch out.
Flags out there.
Van der Waal lost it after turn number 3, Cascades. It's onto the grass. He rejoins just ahead of the GT4 pack, with Luca Montego still leading, but again with heavy damages from the front of his McLaren. Behind him, when they're now approaching Marco Polenti and Massimo Beltrame, both his teammates, who I don't know what will be doing. They will be trying to overtake Montego and try to take for granted the win, or they will be playing a teammate to his leader and try to protect him from the attack fall behind, including Codoneso, with the Mercedes is now 4th in the class. That's real intriguing to see, because Codoneso, as you can see, is already behind the trio of Italian McLaren leading the GT4 class. And you can really see how Montego damage is heavy on the front, and even though it doesn't seem to affect its performance, it affects certainly the steering and the behavior of the car.
Yeah, just behind this battle as well, you've got Condonescu holding off Gerbino desperately. He's all over the back of him. The McLaren driver ready to make it a 1, 2, 3, 4 McLaren Italian finishing positions in the GT4 category. Condonescu ruining that fantasy for them at the moment.
Meanwhile, Jack Prentice, after being overtaken by Andrea Marcella, is already miles behind Marcella, and is protecting from Mirko Tirrena for the battle for second place. The Ferrari driver in the 296 GT3 number 829 is already behind the rear wing of the AMG of Jack Prentice to try to mount a challenge for second place. And behind him, 2 seconds, not too far behind, we have Gregory Harvey, Tim Long cousin, who's now 4th in the Bentley, which curiously is holding the same number of the position he holds, number 4. And then we see Chris Gedman just doing his business, avoiding all the chaos from the beginning to mount up to 7th place, ahead of Tarkovsky, Silvestri, and Glover, who after all the mayhem makes P10, but is really far behind the rest of the pack. That's a shame for the American in the American Mustang, because he will be forced to make a comeback. I don't know if he will be able to do it on track or by a pit stop. Speaking of pit stop, now Van der Sloot and the Schroeder are doing their mandatory pit stop, while mandatory pit stop has already been completed by Ravensberger, Tucker, Ivanov, Van der Waal, Overland, Broken, which I remind though I have to stay long in the pits because, of course, of the damages they collected in the opening lap shunt.
Yeah, we've got car number 55, Roy van der Sloot in the GT4 class, just exiting the pit lane. He's looking like he's going to be just about 1 lap down. He's rejoined just in front of the leaders.
Oh, watch out for Ivanov. Lost it, the rear in the island bend, and he has to restart immediately because the Ferrari of Van der Waal slightly missed him. Ivanov does not manage to restart the correct way. He has to go out of the way because the GT4 class are starting now, and Montero is in the pits. And so that will leave the way for Marco Poletti, Massimo Beltrame to take the lead. What's happened for Van der Waal? No, I mean,
Gerrit Smets and Alessandro Litti both had to avoid the rejoining Mercedes at the island hairpin.
Oh, we see some confusion between a GT3 Mercedes car and Audi GT4. I believe it is Smits. While behind them we saw in the background Ada Schappe taking the place of Alessandro Litti. For now is P16 Ada Schappe, which is currently sixth in the GT4 category. And really good progress by Schappe, who among the others is one of being involved in the opening chaotic incident. Schappe now 4 seconds behind the Smith. He has the objective.
Smets just went off. Smets has just been off track, so that's going to be less than 4 seconds now. It's about half of that, I think.
Yeah, but it will be 2 seconds.
Up the battle for second now. It's only half a second between Tirrena and Prentice.
Yeah. Yes, let me see now Luca Montero, who took the chance of a free pit stop to repair the damages. That would be more than 30 seconds. I think it would be a full service pit stop from Luca Montero. Don't know what way he will leave him in track position, considering Poletti, Beltrame and everyone else has to come in to take their mandatory pit stop. But it's all game on to see at least in GT4 a new winner after 2 rounds dominated by Luca Montero, even though this time he has no fault on his own because of course of lap 1 crash mayhem in the middle of the pack. But let's see now for a few opportunities of battle, because of course GT4 is still packed. We have Samuele Giambino, Condoneso taking a cut on the heat stop chicane. He made a mistake, and also Beltrame, I think, no, who was the McLaren?
Condonescu, the 43
No, I mean
McLaren.
the McLaren, not the Mercedes. If not, it was it is Van der Slot. No, it is. It is Van der Slot who made already his mandatory pit stop and decided to just go straight and avoid any problems with a blue flag situation. But Condoneso is really struggling at this time of the track because Samuele Giambino is really pushing to try to take the place on the, I believe it's a Belgian or Greek driver in the Mercedes. There are a lot of Belgian and Greek drivers on Formula Racing League, and so I
a bit of a multicultural affair, absolutely. Just having a little look down the field, I think the battle for 5th place, De Rosa and Beek, is heating up. A couple of tenths separate those guys. I don't know if maybe that's something you want to keep an eye on. It's looking pretty feisty.
Yeah, and we're here with Adam Beek in the Verstappen.com racing Emil Frey Ferrari, leading the charge on the Ford Mustang of Rafael De Rosa. And at this point of the live stream, where there is not very much action, but there is a chase, really interesting. This is the moment where I go straight into the cockpit and say onboard time. And let's see now Adam Beek on the charge on Riccardo De Rosa for 5th place, onboard on the Ferrari.
Yeah, the Mustang in front looks like it's having a bit of difficulty. It looks a bit... there's a car in front, that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's the Chevrolet Camaro GT4 of Kruger, who's yet to do a mandatory pit stop. But you can see Beek be more... having more feeling on the twist section of Auto Park compared to De Rosa, who really struggles from some understeer, especially at the entry and the midpoint of the corner. But of course to Riccardo De Rosa, a little moment for Beek after the Knickerbrook corner. Of course De Rosa has the monstrous power of the Mustang engine to prove this defense point on the big, who's getting a slight away from De Rosa.
Yep, just another point to point out as well, the cars in second, third, fourth place are now approaching the back end of the GT4 train. Marcelo had some difficulties getting round the two at the back, D'Amica and Wheats. However, sorry, that's Sebastian and Kruger, I think it was, sorry. But they're now approaching the rest of that pack, and it could potentially open up some interesting drama for the GT3 cars.
Yes, indeed. We see now Andrea Marcella back on the live TV because it is really now about keeping the head cool and keeping the concentration as he passes the Paul Trotman for the Blue Flag proceedings in the GT4 class. While we have still a lot of chat involving Matthias De Munde. We want to see some chicane send the GT3 quality, of course, one of the best chicane. Lock Glow, all the S, what a start, and he praises us because that's some passionate commentary. Thank you for thank everyone who's joining us. Oh, Marcelo now passing a Mercedes, which I believe it is Laming. Yes, it is. And he had almost a moment with two wheels onto the grass, but luckily he managed to hold on. Marcel having no problem at all at this time of the race. Almost a quarter of the race done. We have still half an hour left with Andrea Marcella leading the way. It is business as usual in the GT3 class. However, in the GT4 class, it looks like will be a really good Italian battle because Marco Poletti is leading from Massimo Beltrame, and the dominating force of the GT4 class, Luca Mantego, has been forced to take an early pit stop to fix those heavy damages on the front of the car after the opening shunt. For now, Luca Mantego is ahead.
There's been a crash under the island hairpin. Got a green GT3 came at the back of Paul Trotman under braking. It looked pretty hard impact. It's a green GT3 car.
It might be Prentice. No, it is not Prentice. Let's see who it was. Maybe I'm trying to reach who was the GT3 car because maybe it was Broken, who is P33. It was last. I'm trying to reach, but for now, it is not easy. It is not easy, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's not. Definitely not. It's a lot harder to do this than it looks.
Yeah, look at this while Gedman is really running away from Takskolski. Takskolski having some trouble with the GT4 class. Glover say thank you very much and takes the place on the Polish man in the McLaren. 8th place for Brendan Glover, who will now lead the charge to Chris Gedman, who is throwing everything to defend. He's currently 7th place in the Porsche. And look at this, Takskolski now really overtaking just now the GT4 machinery. We had some problems. I believe it is not a lambing, it is twiddle. It is, yes. And now
it's definitely a bit chaotic back there. Absolutely. There's another cut off at the island hairpin.
And look at this guy Glover. How much room he has gained on Chris Gambon. He almost wanted to throw him out of the track, but how really strong he brakes, especially turn 1 and turn 2. And Gedman has now just to take it easy. Oh, some car wearing off at turn number 5, I believe. Yes,
it is Matteo D'Amica. Matteo D'Amica is off into the wall at the island hairpin. He's just sitting parked there. I don't know if he's able to get it moving again.
That's a real shame for Matteo D'Amica, as now we see Gedman trying all his best to defend Glover, as Alessandro Ritti in another GT4 class decided to take it to the grass to avoid all the mayhem from the current GT3 duel between Gedman and Glover. That it's valid for 7th place overall. real strong, intense duel between the Scotsman and the American on the Ford Mustang, and with Taskowski to watch them as close as he can get, trying to take every opportunity in the way as now they approach another lap, and we have to watch about the behavior of the two cars, of the two drivers, because Glover, you can see, is really strong on the brakes, trying to push really hard, especially on the entry point of the corner, despite the Ford Mustang flows. While Ganman is doing a more clean trajectory, more trying to... Oh!
Turn 3, turn 4, there's a car drifting off, it's a McLaren.
And that's a GT4, because I see one with two wheels onto the grass. I don't know who it is, but that's going to take to severe problem for the McLaren up ahead. It is McLaren number 55, and it is, of course, Van der Sloot again. But look at this Glover now, really getting closer and closer and closer to Genban, and he trying on the outside. Genban really pushing and there's contact, and Genban into the wall, and that's not how you want to end a battle. And I fear that Genban has taken some heavy damages on the suspension part of his Porsche, left suspension, because that was the slightest little touch between Glover and Genban, that was enough to send him straight to the barriers on the left side before the chicane section of Eastlope, and let's see how Genman will react on the track of how the car will behave after those track. For now, he's simply all okay, no heavy damages here. But you can see by how flashing his head, like Genman is not happy at all about Glover, while Jack Prentice is on the box.
Yeah, I think that one will be coming past the steward's room at some point over the next 24 hours. It did look a bit close. It was one of those situations where the gap was there, but the racing line takes you over from the right-hand side of the track all the way over to the left. And I think as Gerdman was going in that direction, the power of the Mustang brought the front bumper of Glover alongside Chris Gerdman's rear bumper, inevitably leading to the contact. But I don't think there was too much reaction time either driver had to avoid that one. As Jack Prentice now leaves the pits, he's rejoined behind the lapped D'Amica, who's managed to get himself going again.
Yes, Prentice is behind Codonesu, so it's behind Ramsberger, Tucker and Van der Waal, I believe, but luckily Prentice manages to overtake Codonesu without any problem at all. And sorry, Codonesu almost risking to go straight into the barriers of turn 5. Now
there's cars all over the place at the back, in between the second to last corner. Almost every single car just ran wide off the track, but I think it's just them GT3s trying their best to get past. I don't think there's any malice there at all.
Yes, I believe so. Let's see now how the track position is evolving between Prentice and Ramsberger. I believe Prentice manages to hold on Ramsberger and all of the others. It's just that Ramsberger and the others were just real too far away after the heavy damages of the opening blow, and so Prentice still has a chance to try reach a podium in his home track. I believe he won of his many home tracks, but I don't know if Oulton Park feels really much more home despite everyone else. So there's a yellow flag. I think one of the cars has lost it and is into the pits. I don't know. It's
Jimmy Thacker.
Tucker, and I see also Trotman in the pits, but Tucker, I believe he will stand as his reasons, because I don't see anymore on the ranking. So it's no, I see now Tucker, but I believe it is a retirement for the Belgian on the Ford Mustang. And look at this, Gedman
he's alongside,
trying to rebuild his race, and now he's even behind the Federico Silvestri. Silvestri having some troubles in the Ferrari as well. Again, but manages to retake this place with a beautiful overtake between turn 15 and turn 16. Again, in 8th place ahead of the Italian. Well, watch out now, Marco Poletti and Massimo Beltrame all in the pit lane for their mandatory pit stop. And now let's see how they will rejoin the track, considering Luca Montego is behind, meets Sharp and Codonesu. And Codonesu might try to play the undercut card to try and take the position on both of them.
Yeah, they've got quite a substantial gap there back to Montero. Montero is just coming through the second chicane now at Knickerbrook. I think they've got enough time to get out, even taking a full service with pit tyres as well. That'll be because of the damage that was received earlier on.
And it's a quick pit stop. A quick pit stop by Poletti Beltrame, only refueling, no tyre changes, and I think that will lead them with a huge gap ahead. But Beltrame takes a drive-through penalty for speeding. And that's real bad for him, because that's a second place thrown away for him. Samuele Gerbino also with a quick pit stop. He's behind Adam Sharpe. He's behind Codonesu. So I believe the new rankings after Beltrame drive-through will be Poletti, Codonesu, and Sharpe.
Yeah, that sounds about right and up to date as it stands. Marcella, I think,
yes, Marcella into the pits as well as Mirko Tirena. Harvey continues, so he provisionally leads its race, while all the other rivals, Marcella, Tirena, De Rosa, but also Bic and Glover, are all coming into the pits for their mandatory pit stop, while we're only 20 minutes and 36 away from the checker flag.
Yeah, it's hard to think we've been going for 25 minutes already. It's been action-packed, it's not stopped, but Marcella's back out, as you say. I'm currently watching Gerbino and Sharpie and back in GT4s. There's only a couple of tenths behind them, but I don't think Gerbino has the outright pace to stick with the Ginetta driver, at least around this track. Sorry, he's in the Porsche, not the Ginetta. My mistake.
No problem at all. While Marcella has rejoined the track in P5 behind Federico Silvestri. Reminder themselves that the top 4 has yet to come into the pits for the mandatory pit stop. So Marcella is still virtually the leader of the race. Another drive-through. It is Massimo Beltrame. Yes, it is the same penalty. Just a reminder. It is just a reminder that they have to serve between the next 2 laps. Marcella overtook, meanwhile, Silvestri with easiness and takes 4th place. No doubt who will be the leader after the round of pit stop will complete Harvey. The other Harvey is into the pits, so it's a pit stop also for the Bentley driver. Let's see Taskowski and Gedman fighting for now 2nd place, but we have to come into the pits. Taskowski goes into the pits. Gedman continues, so Gedman now, even for a few laps, a few meters, it's your leader of the race.
Yeah, he'll enjoy that one. He'll absolutely enjoy it. We've got a bull. I think Sloot's having an absolute nightmare around this track tonight. He's just caught him off track again. But I'm currently watching the GT4 leader. It's another one.
He went too bad, too worse for Massimo Beltrame. The drive-through now has been transformed into a stop-and-go penalty for track cutting. And that was gone really brilliantly in the way of Beltrame.
I suspect he has cut a chicane.
Yes, meanwhile, Gedman cannot hold Marcella and decide to not fight a losing duel. And so Andrea Marcella takes easily the place for Gedman and takes back the lead of the race. That's how good he is. That's how tremendously good he is, even in a track like Oulton Park, especially in a track like Oulton Park. And so Marcella is leading with a huge advantage, considering both Gedman and Silvestri has yet to come into the pit stop. And that's our drive-through at this time in Twiddle in the Mercedes GT4. He was ahead of Trotman, Sebastian, and Van der Sloot. And now, let's see now. Gelman continues. Silvestri as well. They want to just hold on for as long as they can and hope that all the others get stuck in traffic. But it's not happening for now. And so let's see where this will end them for Gedman and Silvestri, with Gedman now having overtaken Tarkowski in the McLaren. And he was trying his best to gain any possible seconds, maybe on, I don't know, Glover, on Beeke, or trying to get as near as possible as them, while now Gedman has to take the matters to Alessandro Litti. He is for now. Let's see
Get off that curb, no!
Oh, he almost lost it. Tarkowski now back into the pizza again. What has happened to Tarkowski? He's back into the pits already.
Oh, the Ferrari went off as he's trying to overtake Litti.
Oh.
He's just been spinning off at Druids. He's going again now, but that was very treacherous. There was nearly a massive crash with them on approach to Druids, but I think Litti lifted off the brakes and let him through.
Yeah, and the Mercedes driver of Giannelli is not happy about Litti's behavior at all. While now Gedman Silvestri comes into the pits, final pit stop for them. Let's see how they will end. Tirrena Apprentice and Harvey are coming into the starting finish straight. I believe Gedman will be very much behind Glover and even Beek. I believe so.
Yeah, those two have been flying, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do you think he's taking tyres? Do you think he took my advice?
No tyres, no tyres. He rejoins directly now onto the track, and let's see in which position I believe will be.
He's out in front of Jan Brocken, but I think he's a lap ahead.
He's ahead. Rammelsberger is behind Beek, so it would be P10 for Gedman.
He's just behind. Is that Twiddle? No, he's ahead of Twiddle. Sorry. Yeah, on track he is behind car number, I think it's 246. Paul Trotman will be the next GT4 he's got to try and get round.
Yeah, meanwhile, let's head back to GT4 class where Luca Montero is trying to build this race. For now, he's the P4 in the class, but 8 seconds behind Codonesu, who is fighting with Sharp for second place in the GT4 class. So, unless something happens, we'll have the dominating force of GT4 class out of the podium in the third round of a multi-class first day series, and that's what can happen. That's the beauty and the bad of the multi-class action, because it can be exciting, it can be really thrilling to put you on the edge, but it can also bring you down from all your dreams and all your hopes. And Luca Montero is one of the drivers who tasted the worst case scenarios of multi-class action, while Codoneso for now is fighting Sharp for second place.
Yeah, well, you've got that on. I'll leave you with that just now. But, yeah, that's pretty much the closest battle we have going on just now. Gerrit Smets is a couple of tenths behind Nick Lamming, but it's not as close as these two for sure.
Watch out behind them. We have Marcella on the almost scaring the ass out of Sharp, because Sharp is giving some headlights to the leading GT3 car. Of course, very much aggressive, the Italian. And now let's see Sharp and Codoneso really fighting hard for second place. Codoneso trying to take all the slipstream, turn one. But unless Sharp commits a mistake, it's really hard to take opportunity to make overtakes. And I think that reflects most of all on the GT4 class, because these cars are not very much heavy, but they're also not very powerful, not very powerful in terms of steering, and so overtaking in a car in a truck like this becomes more and more difficult, because you don't have really enough spots to make a real substantial difference compared to the other drivers.
Yeah, they've got less power, but they've also got, the big thing is they've got less downforce and smaller brakes. So what you tend to find is the brakes struggle they overheat a little bit as well, and they're easily to lock up. And what happens is it causes a lot of drivers to make mistakes under braking, but the corner speed is that much lower, you don't really notice it as much. But as you see here, I've got a move down the inside potentially.
Almost a mistake by Chape, who went pretty wide at the entry point of turn number 9, but he managed to close the door on Codoneso. Codoneso behind him, we see Overlander trying to lap them. Oh, watch out, son, because you're disturbing dual for second place in the GT4 class, and he almost went, and he lost it, bang, into the barriers. And that's what happens when you're not at all patient, because I understand the feelings, but...
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's the unpredictability. But one thing that's not really mentioned is that when you approach the back of the GT4 cars, when you're driving the GT3, all your downforce just disappears. The dirty air off the back of the GT4 cars just creates a stall on all the downforce, and then you start understeering, oversteering, and I think that's partially what's happened there as well, other than just being shocked and surprised he's not had the grip that he's had on the last couple of laps there. He's approaching again a very dangerous part of the track.
And again, almost again, with two wheels onto the grass, Overland, the Norwegian driver on the McLaren, trying everything to get past the two GT4 machines that is fighting for second place in their category. And Overland almost having no chance, almost having no tact, no sensibility about asking. He wants to take those places as quick as possible, and now he will try to take the inside of both Sharpie and Codonesu. He manages to do so, but he blocks Sharpie, and that might be the chance for Codonesu. Turn 10, turn 11, turn 12, and Codonesu manages to take the opportunity and to take the position of Sharpie for getting up to second place. Great move by Codonesu, who managed to make the opportunity created by Overland, real aggressive behavior, and so Codonesu manages to overtake Sharper for second place.
Yeah, I think you might find some very angry English words used in a Yorkshire accent down his headset just now. He'll be furious with that one. He was courteous enough to leave the inside for the GT3, but Condonescu just said, "Thank you very much, I'll have some of that." Turned the car in, hugged the apex like it was his favourite granny, and took the position.
And look at this, because now we have Luca Montero. No! Another Sharpie.
I just watched it.
Gets a drive penalty. And,
yeah, coming around turn 1, he had the throttle pinned on the exit, the back end, drifting, 4-wheel drift all the way, all 4 tyres off the track. He's driving angry, and the track has punished him for it.
Yes, and that will leave a silver plate to Luca Montero, who, after everything that happened, will manage still to step on the podium, even here at Oulton Park after what happened to him in the opening lap. That's a real crazy testament by Luca Montero's comeback, but also a huge shame for Ada Schape, because I believe he would have loved to take a podium here in his home soil track, but those angry driving and this track limits have just thrown him out of contention.
Yeah, the turn 1 track limits are very strict around this track, but something to point out, you've been talking about Montero, who's fought his way back. He's now only 0.8 of a second behind Sharp. Now I know Sharp's got a drive-through, but he's only a couple of seconds behind P2 as well, so he might still get second place out of this, even with the damage at the start.
Yeah, it could be a real comeback of comebacks for Montero if he manages to try an attack on Cotonezu while Montego, no, sorry, Sharpe decided to spend the drive rug just now, leaving also some weather torpedo up to P4. That's a really good performance so far by our fellow Italian FRL admin. While now we see Luca Montego
it's going to
now
be close.
pushing only 2 seconds behind Cotonezu. But it almost, I think that now 1.2 because I think Cotonezu has some problems with Gianelli, and now we'll have with Jack Prentice, who is fighting with Mirko Tirenna for
there's a car off there.
And who it is? Tirenna! It's Tirenna! Tirenna! He's lost it. It's almost straight into the barriers. So Jack Prentice will take second place, and Harvey takes third place. That's Mirko Tirenna. A rare mistake from the Italian, and that throw him himself out of the podium contention. And that will leave Luca Montero getting closer and closer on Cotonezu. Not closer and closer. He almost already caught him. That's real extraordinary by Luca Montero.
Yeah, it's very interesting that we've caught this battle in the dying minutes of the race. Luca Montero, as you said, had that big crash there in turn 1. You're watching with the external cam. On the alternate channel, I've got him in his in-car view. We'll be sticking with this one until he either gets past or the end of the race. If you do feel the need to navigate away from this, feel free to do so. We'll make sure we'll catch the climax of this.
Almost outside, he almost snapped a little bit his rear tires. That's how much he's pushing to try and take a place on Cotonezu. So how about we jump a little bit on board with Luca Montero, leading in the GT4 category, now fighting to try to reach Cotonezu and try to take a last chance to take second place and compete a great comeback on board on the McLaren GT4.
Yeah, we've got a very angry GT3 looking to fight his way past these two as well. Just
that's
behind
Harvey behind it.
Like,
it's Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey in the Bentley.
Yeah, I think Harvey will try to take the position as fast as possibly could, but almost trying to act with his mind, because now he's third place. Losing it now will be a capital mistake for him. And so he decided now to overtake Montero, deciding to take the cleanest approach possible. Very good from Harvey. Montero lost a little bit, but Cotonezu could lose a little bit also. But let it look by Harvey, let it through to Wilson to the grass.
Kicking up dust for style points as he goes through. But he's got through cleanly, and that means these two now have a clean fight down to the finish, I believe. Or they would do if they didn't have Van der Waal, Tachigauzi and Overland all on their tail next.
Yeah, so it will be a battle also be decided by the timing of those blue flags, who can decide who finishes second and who finishes third behind Marco Poletti and Luca Cotonezu really going for a long strike. That is a track limit warning if I ever see one.
Yeah, that one looked a little bit suspicious, didn't it?
Look how Montero is really aggressive on the inside of the curbs. It's almost like he gains 5 tenths just by going on the curbs on the inside as fast as he could. Look at this Glover on the inside. Contact! Contact! And then also the other Ford Mustang of De Rosa passes. That is really aggressive for both Ford Mustangs, who are fighting as well for 4th place. Glover has some damages on the front of his Ford Mustang. This could be the allies for Cotonezu. And De Rosa almost lost it.
Rejoin.
Rejoin. This will lost a couple of times to Cotonezu. Almost surely. And now look at Tirenna, I believe it is. No, it is Van der Waal. Van der Waal.
It's an absolute chaos.
Yes, it is chaos. And now Montero, almost a big hold on by Adam Beek, who now Adam Beek will try with underwater. And now it's the Cotonezo turn to get a little bit held up by GT3 car class. Wow, this will be decided until the end. Let's see if they will manage eventually to get the car at the track only for themselves. And Cotonezo almost lost it on the turn one. Let's see if Montero will be able to gain on Cotonezo vital track time and space to try an overtake on Cotonezo, even though it doesn't seem very near, at least in this lap. But Montero is already trying to take to the inside, trying to force Cotonezo to a mistake. Maybe here. For down the Mercedes driver holds on. Silvestri is into the pits, I believe. Don't know what happened between Silvestri. But that is a real shame. Between Cotonezo and Montero, sorry, there's only now, I believe, it is a McLaren of Taxkowski, yeah. Then they will have, I believe, a clear track until the end of the race. Cotonezo almost with a mistake. Montero pushing from behind, trying to get even a small space to try take the opportunity. Meanwhile, we see Taxkowski now reaching Luca Montero and Cotonezo, another car off the track. It is the GT4, pit window closed. Oh, whoa! What happened? No! Oh my! It was almost disaster between the two GT4 classes. That's what was happening.
Fair play. They managed to avoid the massive accident there, and I think Montero intentionally backed off after that contact. It was completely unintentional. It was a car off and hit.
A drive-through for car number 43, Cotonezo! Cotonezo drive-through! That's over for Cotonezo! And then we leave Luca Montero taking second place, and Adam Schape getting back on the podium after Cotonezo track limits penalty. While Andrea Marcella has begun the final lap of this race, because now we have only 10 seconds after the end of the 45 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final lap, and Andrea Marcella has done everything perfectly from the start to the finish. Another great milestone in this championship, in the whole season, with dominating back and forth. Even in the Taco Tuesday and the Sunday races, he has participated. That is participating with his Porsche car that he could be mistaken by official factory racing Porsche, considering the races and also the level of pace of Andrea Marcella. But that is how fast he is. That is how confident he is in this car. And the results are clearly showing for it. Let's see if there are a couple of battles, maybe Beek and De Rosa. But he has still the same problem. De Rosa with a heavy advantage of power in the Mustang compared to the Ferrari. And for the rest, there are not very much any fight going on. So let's see Andrea Marcella approaching now the final corner, and we're now exiting cleanest, maybe with a little bit of wiggle, but that's not concerned because he will make 3 out of 3. Andrea Marcella takes victory even at Auto Park. Astonishing drive for Marcella. Congratulations to him. Prentice will take second place, a great second place, and Harvey will take third in the GT3 class. How is that?
I mean, Marcella's pushing out of the final corner like he's battling tooth and nail to keep the win. He's pushing every single lap. As you said, an absolute dominance from the Italian. We do have a drive-through for P5.
De Rosa, just on the final lap. Just on the final lap. That is such a shame for De Rosa. Prentice takes it home and takes P2. Harvey will finish in third place ahead of Glover. De Rosa will finish fifth, but will be back at least in 8th place, considering the drive-through penalty, so big will be 5th, Tirrenia 6th. But let's jump also to the GT4 class, where Marco Pedretti is now on the final corner of Oulton Park, and will manage to break the streak of Luca Mantero, even though it is the sad one, because Pedretti has done everything so good to take the opportunity and take victory here at Oulton Park. He breaks the Luca Mantero streak, but what a race once again by the dominating force of GT4 class, because he was dead last after the car crashes in the opening lap. He managed to climb back all the way to 2nd place. Great job by Luca Mantero. And
interesting fact happened here. Kondonescu came through at home in 3rd because Sharp crossed the checkered flag 1 lap earlier. He's not got that podium back. He's finished a lap down because of his penalty.
That is a real shame for Sharp and a real lifesaver by Kondonescu. But here are your official racing results for the race at Oulton Park. And as you can see, it is once again one-man business in the GT3 class. Andrea Marcella winning in style ahead of Jack Prentice and Gregory Harvey, who stand up on the podium in their home soil event at Oulton Park. And then Bernard Glover, Mikko Tirrenia had a big Chris Gemman with an impression. A really exciting 7th place for him. Then Riccardo De Rosa after the penalty. Ravensperger in 9th. Federico Silvestri in 10th. Tax Stock, Van der Waal, Giannelli and Overland completes the GT3 class ahead of the GT4, which is won, by the way, the race by Marco Pedretti ahead of the dominating leader, Luca Mantero. Then Kondonescu managing to beat Adam Sharp for the last step on the podium. Then Broken, Gerbino, Laming, Smets, Liti, Witz, Trotman, Twiddle, Van der Slot, Sebastian, Kruger, and Lachard. Unfortunately, they did not manage to finish the race, but Trame, Tucker, D'Amica, Ivanov, and else. And that was a hell of a race, Gordon Brown, and there was everything else we could ask from a race day here at Oulton Park. What do you say?
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, especially at the start with that multi-car crash. Again, that one will need to be looked at, I'm pretty sure, by the race stewards. Some work for those guys this evening. It looked like there was an identical crash, but it happened completely separately in amongst the GT4s as well. You mentioned that there Montero caught out by that. So again, we need to have a look at that and see what potentially was the outcome of it. But I believe we are now joined by FRL's very own Mr. Chris Gedman.
Evening again, gentlemen. So my strategy kind of worked. I didn't really do what I says I was going to do regarding the GT4s or what you suggested, but I did take my time, was consistent, and I managed to get a cheeky wee 7th right there at the end when somebody got a drive-through at the end. Woohoo!
Really good job, Chris Gedman, and of course you'll be busy analyzing your race, but also the episode that will come out in the stewards room very shortly after the race ending in the server. And of course, if you want to stay tuned, watch us on our Discord server, where you can join in the link below in the description. But for tonight, it's everything for Oulton Park. A reminder that Sunday will be back for the Super Sprint Sunday Championship. Same here in Great Britain. And then next week will be another round and another high-stakes emotion of the Assetto Corsa Competizione Championship for round number 4, who will be held. Let's remind ourselves of where will be held. We'll be leaving Great Britain and adventuring ourselves into the Green Forest or near for Nürburgring, the Grand Prix track layout for round number 4 of the championship. So really don't miss it. Don't miss it, because we're just entering the best part of the championship. I'm Andrea Mattavelli, and I want to wish a really great thank you to Brown again, man, who joined me in the commentary box in exceptional way tonight. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you
very much.
And to every one of you who join us, thank you everyone. And my final wish, a very good evening and good night to all of you.